All right, I'm back in my garage with another video on this garage art Ferrari 360 engine that I'm working on. In the last video, you seen I pretty much got the whole engine disassembled down to the bare block. And like I said, the only what I did after that was, I pressure washed it, put simple green on it, degrease it, and everything as best as I could. It was still really, really nasty. That grease, that oil, burnt oil, didn't want to come off at all. So it is what it is. So the whole goal was we was already supposed to be moved into our new house that we're having built, and basically what I was going to do is with all these parts here, I was going to take them, transfer them to the new house. I was going to order the new, bigger vapor hunting machine, and was going to clean them up, and we'll start putting it together over there. But it looks like we're delayed in our new house by actually probably 4 to 5 months. It's way, way behind, maybe even longer. So it looks like I'm not going to be able to do the project over there. And we already have, actually, our house is almost empty. Everything's pretty much in storage, most of it anyway. So I can't take all these parts because they do take up a lot of room, all these parts laying all over the garage. Which I don't like. I'm trying to keep everything clean around here, but so I could either take all this stuff, box it up, and put it in storage, but I have all of our furniture over there, and I don't want it to smell like. I mean, this stuff is really nasty. It smells horrible, like burnt, nasty oil. So I can't put it in there with our furniture and stuff because it might, create a smell in there. So anyway, I decided what I'm going to do is we're going to be here for a while. I went ahead and ordered the bigger vapor hunting machine. So they already had one built. I called them. Vapor Hunting Technologies. I think they're in North Carolina. And then I had it shipped. It took like a week to get here. And then I finally got it. And then I had to go to the same dock that I picked up the engine at. Picked it up, dropped it off here at the house, and basically went to work. And then, I worked all the rest of the week. And then now I had time to go ahead and actually finish getting some, connectors and stuff for the airlines for the machine, and now that's up and running. And then I was able to clean some parts. So that's what I cleaned some of the parts on the engine, but they're not fully cleaned. But we'll take a look at that in a minute. But anyway, the cylinder heads. When I took these off, one of the heads I had test fitted that valve cover. Some old ones I found online, but it didn't really matter. I was going to repowder coat those anyway. So when I left the valve cover on, it fit really good, nice and easy. So that's why I thought the head was really good shape. But of course, I couldn't get the head off because it was warped. It was so warped that actually when I was able to beat it off the studs, it must have twisted more because I couldn't get the valve cover off. And I was prying and prying and prying. And finally, when I got it to come off, I couldn't get it to go back on. That's how misaligned everything was. I've never seen anything like that. It's crazy. So I'm not going to use these heads again. Like I said, I was going to drill out the holes where the studs go through and just put it on because it's just for looks. You know what I mean? Put it on and then make it look pretty, and then that's that. But now the valve cover won't even go on, and I'm not going to drill out the valve cover. So I'm just going to scrap that. We'll still take these because they smell. I'm going to take them and then just disassemble them. We're going to vapor hunt them and clean them up, and then we'll maybe use them as paperweights or something like that. And then we'll take all these parts here, we'll clean them up, and we'll put them in the cylinder heads that I pulled out of storage. So anyway, that's that there. So the valve covers are at the powder coater, and then the next problem I had is the powder coating that I had. I had some wrinkle red right here. I had a couple containers of it, and here it is. The only issue is, look at it. It's hard as a rock. And then I talked to one of my good friends. He owns the powder coating business. And then I was like, well, how long does this stuff last? He said, usually about a year. I guess maybe longer. It just depends. You got to keep it in a cool, dry place. And I didn't do that, I guess, because I had it in one of my storage sheds in the back. So, yeah, anyway, it's bad. But you know what I did? I took it. We had an old blender in the house. And then I brought it here in the garage, and actually I broke it up and I put it in a blender and I blended it. Actually, it started melting in the blender because I had it on high speed, so I had to kind of like pulse it, you know what I mean? And then finally it started, turning into powder. So I took it to him. I said, hey, you know what? I got the powder coating that I put in a blender. He goes, you did what? I said, I put it in a blender. I said, it looks pretty good. And he goes, it's no good. You can't use it that way. I was like, will you just take a look at it? And he goes, no, it's no good. So let me just bring it in. He goes, okay, I'll look at it. So I bring it in there. I said, here, look at it. It was in a Ziploc bag. And he looked at it and he goes, man, that looks pretty good. I was like, see, I told you. And he goes, I don't know. I was like, well, can you do like a test piece or something? He goes, yeah, we can test it out. He goes, I'm curious anyway. So we're going to test it out. He's going to test and see if it works. And he said, if it works, we'll use it. But if not, he says that he's probably got some red. He thought he had some there from a project from some time ago, wrinkle red Ferrari. So he's going to try and find that. If not, I'm going to have to, if this doesn't work out, I might have to order some more. And that's just going to delay those a little bit longer. So anyway, that's where the valve covers are at. So I can't wait to get those and put it up next to a clean engine. So anyway, that's that there. So let's take a look at the, let me get back here so we can take a look at the engine. And then this is what I've cleaned up so far. The lighting is kind of, it's going to throw shadows. Everything's going to make it look kind of like some areas are not cleaned or whatever. But I'm going to have to take, like I said, I just kind of set everything together to see what it looks like. I only cleaned one of the cylinder heads, and it's like halfway clean because it was getting too late, and I didn't want to make too much noise with the compressor running for the neighbors, so I had to stop. So this cylinder head over here is not done at all, but that's what that looks like there. And then, like I said, the machine that I got, it's really big compared to what I was using, and I was able to fit these parts in here, but it's one of the lower machines because it's got like the lower, lower line lighting, and the lighting was horrendous. I had to use just my headlamp that I was using on the microhome because it doesn't have a light because it's so small. But I used that to kind of see. But even then, it looked clean when I pulled it out, and I had been working on it for, I spent hours and hours on these parts. And then when I pulled it out, I was like, oh, God, they need a lot more clean. But they do look 100 times better than what they were. So I'm going to have to re-blast all these parts again. But it shouldn't take too long because most of the gunk is off. But let me get you a good look here. And you'll see some areas where I missed, where I need to go better. Like this cylinder head's only like halfway done. So I didn't really get inside here too much. You can see that. But I got some of the areas. And then I got to clean like some of this gasket material I missed here because it doesn't remove any of that stuff there or any contaminants like plastic melted on the parts. It doesn't remove that. See, like this rubber hose right here, see how blasted at? It doesn't do anything to it. It doesn't even remove the lettering from it. See, but it cleans everything else up on it. So yeah, the block, I got a complete pass on it all the way around, but there's some areas where it's kind of I missed, and I'm gonna have to you can see kind of in here a little bit I missed some areas in there. And then, but it does look really good though. It does look really good. Let me see here. And then here's the back. Here, there's that damage on the back of the block. I'm gonna grind that down, like file it down really nice and smooth. We'll clean that up a little bit. It's not a big deal though. And still some gasket material here. Have to clean up. Here's that. It's the side of the block here. It looks pretty good. You might see some flash rusting on here, and you have to, when you let me show you this front here real quick here. Those ball bearings that are messed up. So what's going to happen is really when you vapor hone anything on here and it has metal, because it will flash rust on you. But what happened is these parts are big. Usually in the machine, you can put rust inhibitor in the machine. That's what I do with the microhone to keep it from rusting. But the problem is I'm constantly changing the water because these parts are just nasty. So I'm constantly changing the water, not changing the media, but just going through it. And there's an overflow on there too that because there's a window sprayer in there, and then you do have a sprayer with a nozzle. You can spray fresh water to kind of clean it off so you can see better the parts and see how good they came out when you go to clean it. So you do have an overflow that you drain out, but what they recommend you is get a big tub because these parts here, because if you put rust inhibitor in the machine, you're going to be dumping it out every time you clean it. So just wasting. So what they recommend you do is get a big tub, put some water in there, maybe get a lid or something that snaps on top, and then you pour your rust inhibitor in there, and then you take your parts and you dunk them in there. and then that'll keep all the parts from rusting. Okay. So I didn't have any of that. So I did have some, but I ran out and had to order some more. So that's what I'll do next time. Once I do the second pass on these parts, then I'll dunk it in the rust inhibitor, and that should keep it from rusting. Okay. And then you remember in here, this actually came out pretty good on the first pass, but there was a lot of plastic that was melted in here. And what happened, it doesn't remove the plastic, it just cleans it. So I had to take like a pick and start picking all that plastic out of the aluminum here. And I got most of it out. There's still a little bit in there left, but I'll have to go through. So if you look right over here, you can still see some, like, in the lettering there, and there's little pieces over here still I got to get, so and around this, that plug right there and stuff, just a little bit, just a little minor stuff, but I'll have to go through and pick that out. And then, see, like here, there's plastic still around there, and then pick all that plastic off, and then I can go ahead and all this gasket material, and then I can do the second pass on it. Like I said, I got to get some better lighting so I can see better, and then I can do a better job at it. And then another thing you'll notice too is it's kind of like two different finish. See the head here, how it looks more of a different finish. It's more of a shinier, darker finish than this right here. And I think the reason why is I had to blast this at a higher PSI because it was just so nasty. It was you see how bad it was. It was burnt, So I had to cut through all that stuff to get down to the surface here. So I run 90 PSI of pressure. And I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but the media I was running, usually if you're polishing or cleaning up aluminum, you can use glass bead. It'll make it look really nice and shiny and everything. But I had to put aluminum oxide in it. So it holds 25 pounds in the machine, 20 pounds of 320, I think it's 320 glass bead. And then I use a 220 aluminum oxide to help cut faster so I get a better clean. And then that's what I use to clean these parts with. But then the cylinder head, because it was already clean, so what I did was I dropped the pressure on it. Okay, I was running 70 psi of pressure, and you see what it did. The lower pressure actually started polishing it almost in a way, if you want to say it that way. And then if I turn the pressure up, it does more. It seems like it does more of a cutting, and then it gets you a little bit of a duller finish. But at least that's what I'm noticing, from what I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is when I go back and redo these parts again, I'll probably run this right here. This will clean up right here at 70 psi, but then I'll come back and do all these parts at 70, and then they should look uniform as far as the gloss level and the as far as the color itself. It should look, this block should come out just like the cylinder head, because the cylinder head is just absolutely amazing in certain areas here. It turned out really good. Let's look at the intakes. Right here, it looks doesn't look really that clean here, but when you put it out in the sun, it's just a shadow in the lighting here because it makes it look kind of funny, but in the light, it looks amazing, especially for this first pass that I did on it. But I'll hit it again, and it should look even better. But then look at here. Look at the trumpets right here. Wow, that looks amazing. Look how that's got that satin finish to it. That looks really good. Like I said, I started off with just one little area right here. I wanted to see how it would look. And then, like I said, usually I would probably use glass bead on this right here, and it will brighten it up really good. But I'm thinking that with that aluminum oxide cutting in there, it kind of give it that satin finish. Yeah, look at that. It looks amazing. It looks really, really good. It came out really clean in here. I'd almost hate to put a cover on it to cover this up. I think it looks gorgeous just like that. So I'm still trying to find the upper plenum, but they're just really expensive right now. At least for one is in decent condition, they're $1,000 to $2,000 for a nice one, and that's cheap, compared to going to Ferrari and buying it. I don't even want to imagine what that price is, but so yeah, that's what it looks like there. To tell you the truth, I think, because I'm going to do the valve covers now in that wrinkle red, I think that's going to make it really pop there. So if I get the upper, I'm not even worried about it right now. But one thing I was asking a buddy of mine, because I was, I'm still looking for it, but I needed this cover right here, right? So I talked to a friend of mine that bought my 360 because I gave this to him, and I asked him if he was wanting to sell it back, and he actually gave it to me. He says, "Here, you can have it back." He said, "You can help me out with my car later, because I'm probably going to need some stuff done to it in the future." I was like, "Man, that would be awesome." So that was really cool of him. So now I have an original piece of my original 360. I think that's really cool to have that on this display engine here. So, yeah, I think it so far, like I said, it turned out good. Like I said, we're going to go through. I just wanted to give you a quick update on how it looks. And I think it's starting to turn out really, really nice. And this is going to be really, pretty to look at once I get it all together. There's another thing too. I was going to block these off, these ports here. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the original headers that were on here. Of course, they're covered. They got these covers on there, the heat shields. I'm going to do like I did with my 360. I'm going to take that heat shield, cut it off, because that's what I did with that. I cooked the precats out. I actually cut it, removed the precat because it was breaking apart in the exhaust and was rattling around. And also it can cause engine damage too. So I'll probably knock the precat out. I'll weld it back together, and then I'm gonna spray it in a flat black. And I think it's gonna look amazing with the red valve cover and the silver. How clean it is right here. I think that black header is gonna look really nice. I think that's really gonna make it pop. So that's gonna be the next thing I'm gonna work on. So, but we got to get this clean and done first. And then, but we're well on our way to, my vision of how I wanted this to look. It's really starting to turn out really good. I know it looked really bad at first, but we're getting there. Slowly but surely, we're getting there. So, anyway, just want to give you a quick update. So, all right, guys. Hope you enjoyed your day, and we'll see you in the next one. Be safe out there, okay? Have a good day. Bye.